doing section 6.2, which is solving inequalities using multiplication and division now. So there's two different properties. The first one is multiplying by a positive number being really important here, makes an equivalent inequality. Secondly, multiplying by a negative number and reversing the inequality symbol. That's really important. Makes an equivalent inequality. Okay, so if you multiply it by a positive number, you're fine. That's the same thing. But if you multiply by a negative, you also have to flip the inequality symbol before you have an equivalent inequality. Okay, solve this using multiplication. Multiply both sides by 4, so x is less than 20. Okay, here we had to pick our numbers. So if x is less than 20, we find 20, and then it's to the left. Open circle because we're not including 20. Multiply both sides by 3, get 24. Okay, and we are greater than 24, so we are to the left. Right, sorry. Multiply both sides by 8. Negative 16. Okay, and we close it. And we are less than or equal to, so we are to the left. And now here comes the second part of that property. When we have negative numbers that we multiply by -6, we also have to flip the inequality. So it would be negative 42, but instead of being less than, it flips to greater than. Okay, this is really important. Okay, negative 42, and when we flip it, that changes to going to the right. This next one, we're multiplying both sides by -7. Flip the inequality, and 1.6 times -7 is -11.2. Which is about right here. We are smaller than that, so we're to the left. Okay, now we have the division property of inequality. Again, there's two parts. First part, in dividing by a positive number, that makes an equivalent inequality. Alternately, dividing by a negative number and by reversing the inequality symbol, and we have an equivalent inequality. Same thing as multiplication. So multiplying or dividing by a negative, you also have to flip that inequality symbol. So here we're dividing by negative 3. So we flip the inequality and it's negative 8. Less than negative 8, so we're to the left. Okay, divide both sides by 5. We didn't divide by a negative, so that's just 9. Greater than 9. Divide by negative 6. N is greater than, flip the inequality, negative 4. So it's to the right. A student pilot plans to spend 80 hours on flight training to earn a private license. So far, they have saved $6,000 for training. Write inequality you can use to find the possible hourly rates that a student can afford to pay for training. So the amount of training time times the hourly rate has to be less than or equal to what we have in savings. Okay, so we need to do 80 hours of training time times H for your hourly rate. It has to be less than or equal to 6,000. And now we need to solve that one for this bottom answer. In the above example, what are the possible hourly rates that the student can afford to pay? So solve our inequality. If we divide both sides by 80, then H has to be less than or equal to 75. So that's $75 an hour. Okay, that was 6.2.